Hi, I'm Peter Birch. I'm here today in Queensland to catch up with Joe Ball to check out some of these amazing Bluetongue morphs. Welcome to CrittaCam. And today, guys, you're going to be absolutely blown away by Bluetongues. Let's check out what Joe's got to show us today.
Okay, so we're going to look at the latest and greatest bluey mutation. It's been all over the internet a few times already, but why not have a look at it again? Okay, so there we have it.
Look at this.
Okay, so a pure Eastern Bluetongue, and if you follow precedent in overseas mutations, that can only be accurately described as a white-sided. So yes, it does have some of the hallmarks of a pied animal, but because of the uniformity of the back stripe and the clear defined white sides, it's a white-sided or a white-sided pied.
That thing is absolutely gorgeous. Pink tongue. Look at it going. Beautiful heart shaped on top of its head there.
Here we have another mutation which I've been working on for a few years prior to this. Now, this is a pure northern Bluetongue, and it's something that I called a patchwork. And as you can see, it has a pink tongue.
It's also got that discoloration around the top of the snout there.
Both of these guys have pink tongues, and both of them have reduced pigment on the heads and sort of a white-sided appearance. What I was fortunate enough to do this year, because of noticing some of the similarities, I managed to pair the two. Not these two specific animals, but a het of that one paired to a het of this guy. What you actually got was mutation animals straight off the bat, which proved they are in fact the same mutation or an allelic mutation, meaning that they're very similar. The mutations lie on the same allele and present in similar but different ways. Okay, so that's white-sided and patchwork, if you want to hold those two.
Yeah. As usual, Joe likes to tell you guys everything, exactly how he's made these animals. That's allowed him to obviously move a lot further in breeding different colours and patterns.
And there is the animal straight off the bat, and you can see it takes on the appearance loosely of both of these guys. So you've got the white snout, and much more reduced than that one, but not quite as reduced as that one. The same pink tongue and the same white belly and white sides with white feet.
Like we said before, it's all about the discerning eye and looking for
and finding
small differences, and then this is where it's led into.
Okay, so pure northern, pure eastern, paired together, turns out to be basically the same mutation straight off the bat.
So where are we up to, Joe? Let's crack the code. So this year you're going to pair these two together?
Well, it's all about putting this lot then into all the other combos that you've seen over the years. So then you've got to throw in your hyper, you've got to throw your albinism, patternless, T+, anery, and let's see what the combinations will produce. Imagine this guy here with a totally black stripe down the back, or with the anery jet black eyes, or even a lava. So you've got a pure orange stripe down the back.
I'm going to say, so, no idea whether it'd be a...
That's got to go.
That into a triple gene or a quad.
Yeah, of course. And that's use some of the triple and quad stuff that's already been made, and let's move all this stuff to the next level.
I can see what the craze is about now, you know, like everyone knows I'm into the dirt snakes and all that, but the paint jobs on these guys is absolutely incredible.
Where they've come from and to over the last 15 years, I guess now. Out of control. Yeah.
So you've got a patternless here too, haven't you? Let's show one of these patternlesses. All right, so the patternless stuff, that's something that's really grabbed my eye, and it really, I mean, it's single. Look at that, just like that. I think that's an absolute gorgeous animal like that. And then you've taken it one step further, as you do,
and added albino to it.
Yeah, like look at this. So like you said before with the high-sided stuff, you can just imagine this mixed into that, yeah. Let alone mixing this into your lavas, your snow. Oh, well, obviously the snows.
Well, let's see.
We don't know, right?
We're looking at each other and going, well, what's it going to be? So let's mix it all up. Again, this is the patternless is an Eastern Bluetongue. Turns out to be a incomplete dominant mutation. The hets have a marked reduced pattern all by themselves, but the homozygous form, as you can see, is literally patternless.
Yeah. It's weird sort of mottling going on too. It's crazy.
The latest and greatest in blueies.
Yeah. So I guess, Joe, one of the most contentious topics, I guess, through the hobby is using tub systems for housing animals, and in particular for you guys with Bluetongues. So what are your thoughts about this? And I mean, groundbreaking back in the day, I guess, for most of us to be able to start using tubs, but are also slightly problematic. Obviously, you get a little bit more feedback than I would, keeping snakes in tubs. So what are your thoughts?
Well, the tub itself, as you can see, and you can see the number of them, is fairly economic. I mean, you can keep quite a few animals. But for me, that doesn't mean it's an excuse to miss any parts of the husbandry requirements. So when you look at this basic setup here, you've got some natural substrate and some nice grass hay here. You can see the bluey can behave a little bit, you know, how it would normally, bulldozing in and so on and so forth. And then you've got a good solid hide here for it to get on into and also on top of. I go for that approach because I think some of the newspaper and paper approaches, I think are, you know, let's be honest, that's where the problem lies, and that's where a lot of the disconnect is. You're taking a non-natural situation like a tub and you're using non-natural substrates, totally non-natural. And for me, there's no wonder why, you know, you're going to start turning on the people that are focused on all the wrong things. So that's the tub, and for me that's about as good as you can do in that space. Now, I've never used tubs as a one-stop shop solution. I, as you all know, use a lot of outdoor solutions. I've worked on several different designs of outdoor caging. That is not always a secondary solution for everybody in colder climates, etc. Whether you're in South Australia or whether you're in the Northern Hemisphere. Yes, you can do tubs, but you can't always set up a good secondary place for these animals to go get their UV requirements, etc., etc. For me, let's look at another solution, and it's not a new solution.
No.
It's definitely not a new solution, but it's one that has been revamped and it does need to be looked at again.
One of the cool things that you mentioned about the tub, and it's the naturalistic material. I mean, like you say, with paper, and we know moisture is really usually the biggest problem with blue tongues.
Yeah.
Keeping them dry is probably the number one thing, and that's one of the main things that we've seen today, looking through all your enclosures, is that they're dry, you know? The substrate's very important choice, not only for you as the keeper making it easy, but also for the animals, giving them exactly the opportunities they need to mimic their naturalistic habits.
Yeah.
And I think you've nailed it on the head, both inside and outside. And like you say, the cages that we're starting to transition back to, so we're almost winding back the clock with old keepers and going back to old school methods. These cages here are pretty cool.
Yeah, that's right. It's about incorporating both. I've never said that's the whole box of dice. Very useful, but you're going to need another solution. And here we have it.
Extra options, And I guess with these cages, let's just open this one up. So what are we looking for in an enclosure to keep blue tongues if you want something large like this, large and spacious? And I mean, we always try to encourage wherever possible to maintain animals in larger spatial areas.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Less is more concept.
That's right.
And as you can see from both these cages, I've gone for two slightly different approaches. And again, it's the same. It's the same as the rack. You've got a good heavy hide that they can't flip, and they know that that's the hide. You know, it's nice and dark, it's tight. They're going to feel comfortable, secure in there. For me, always at the warm end, so they can get warm not only from above, they can hop on top of here like that and get bask up there, but they can also receive some of the heat from the enclosure below.
Right.
And then to go on from there, you've got some natural substrate in there, whether it's sawdust. I know that's not entirely natural, but it's still natural basis. And then in this one here, you've got grass hay as well as sawdust, etc. So, but for a bluey, you know, you've got to be able to mimic that burrowing sort of that ability to burrow. You know, a newspaper and paper, yes, I've used that for years at different times, but quite frankly, it's not really acceptable. I think we can do better than that.
I think I'm with you, man. I think we can all do much better than that. Now, you've got the lighting. One of the things that most people probably don't sort of associate with skinks is UV lighting. Yeah. It's always been one of those contentious sort of subjects, I guess, over the years. The contentious subject with the UV light is what's too much, what's not enough, and what's too little. Now, obviously, no exposure to UV light is too little.
Yes, absolutely. And that's a given. Nobody can argue that. I do see that argued in forums, but I think you have to turn around and accept the literature is there. Reptiles and all living creatures,
including us,
benefit from access to some UV.
That's right.
You know? So let's accept that and let's
move forward and do the right thing. So I guess what we're using, or what you're seem to be using these days, are these blue tongue blackouts. Now, these are only a 5%?
Yes.
So the reason why we would be using a 5% over 10 or something greater is obviously because of the type of animals that we're dealing with.
Absolutely, and there's a body of work that's being done on various different reptiles. Again, accepted, peer-reviewed literature that categorises lizards into how much UV each genus needs, etc. I'm not the oracle on that kind of stuff, but it's accepted that a blue tongue needs a mid-range UVB as opposed to a dragon
Yep.
or
Or even monitors. And
monitors,
stuff.
yeah, dragons, monitors, etc. Whereas the skink genus sits in this mid-range.
And I guess the easiest way, and we talk about science backing up exactly what we're thinking. Let's take another angle at this. Let's go to the reptile keeper, watching the animals. So, like we spoke earlier about the animals coming out early morning, mid-morning, sort of lunchtime, and then the late afternoon, sort of a little bit hot, overwhelming. So when we look at the UV index ratings, you can see it almost mimics naturalistic the animals, what the animals prefer. So, when it comes back to keepers watching animals and learning and observing, we can see that they do prefer that lower index ratings. And then when we get the science backs up our crazy thoughts. That's right. Because we only go off what we see and what we try and to mimic in nature. Obviously, these are a 5-watt globe, economically making it more affordable to use these in captive conditions.
LED, so it lasts longer.
That's right. I don't think they even know the lifespan of these, to be honest, at the moment, but it's indicated somewhere between 3 years plus. The other thing is these, we call them low wattage, high output heat lamps. And these guys actually kick butt. I use these for all my monitors and my gammons.
And how good's that compared to the heat emitting globes that we used to use, that half of them would be broken before you even put them in the enclosure. These are this small, I mean,
even for monitors with tail whips, you're not going to get that slap on the side
that's
and smash it.
And
it's hidden inside there.
Fits in there like that.
And I guess the other cool thing about that is the impact on the environment. We're not throwing the whole thing away. We've just got this tiny little little globe that pops on and does the job.
Yeah.
At these distances here, what temperatures are you finding you're getting here? Around the 30s?
Well, again, that kind of stuff is all stuff that I've picked up from keeping lizards outdoors. And there's 3 different wattages of those. And I picked the mid-range one because I'm looking to hit 40 degrees.
Okay,
Because I want my Bluetongues to hit what I perceive preferred body temperature being 35 to 36, contrary to some literature that you'll read. A Bluetongue will happily bask until it reaches 35, 36, and then it will seek refuge. And a lot of people think that it's sort of 28 to 31. No, you need a basking spot closer to 40.
And see, that goes back again to keeper observation. And
some rock there so that it holds on to the heat.
Yeah, so basically it's creating your own little mini heat bank.
Yes, that's
storing the heat, so when the animal's sitting on top, it's getting above and below heating, belly heating, which is pretty essential. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's show with Joe, the Bluetongue King. And I mean, rightly so. Look at this magnificent creature, one of Joe's amazing creations. Joe, where can people find you if they don't already know where to find you?
All my stuff is labelled under bluetonguelizard.com, so my website is bluetonguelizard.com.au, Instagram is bluetonguelizard.com.au, and the same with Facebook. So pretty easy to find, and it's always the page with the ginger guy showing off lots and lots of Bluetongues.
Well, if you guys aren't following, make sure you do, make sure you hit him up. Thanks so much for watching CrittaCam. Until next week, guys, thanks for watching.